to the Technical Staff and Theatre Workers podcast. It's the podcast in which I talk to people who work backstage in the technical theatre industry about how they got in, their experiences, and any advice they can give to anyone getting in. This is episode 6 of season 3. A big thank you to everyone who's downloaded the show, everyone who's listening to the show. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know who's interested in theatre and those who aren't interested in theatre, because it might make them interested in theatre. Yes, thank you so much for all the downloads. It's been really good so far, so really enjoying it. And without further ado, let's get on to our next guest. I'm with my guest at this time. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell me what your current job title is.
Hello, my name is Marcus Savage, and I am currently the sound number 2 on the Book of Mormon UK International Tour.
Excellent. How'd you get into theatre?
How did I get into theatre? Well, I started off I say very young. It was in school. Any opportunity to jump in on a school show, I was there, and that's how I got in. Started at school, and then kind of progressed from there, and just stuck at it, really.
Excellent. Did you have any aspirations to being on stage, or was it always the technical side that you were interested in?
Funny you should say that. Actually, before I started doing technical, it did start out on stage.
I see. I asked that because everybody starts out on
as
stage.
It always does. I actually, from a young age, I started out in ballet, believe it or not.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah. My mum put myself and my 2 sisters through ballet, so I was introduced to the stage very early on, and it was from that experience that I started to show more of an interest in what was going on behind the scenes rather than what was going on stage. And then, that's when even the people that were teaching these classes and stuff actually spotted that, and they were like, do you really care about what's going on here, or you're more interested in what's going on off stage? And I was like, yeah, do you know what, actually I am. Obviously by this point I was a bit older. I'd been doing that for the amateur dramatics for a few years. And then I jumped into the backstage stuff. So
excellent. Did you train at all?
I didn't actually train, no. I did the courses that were available to me in college at the time. So anything varying from... They didn't really have much to offer because I was from like a small sort of seaside town.
Yes.
So I kind of took what I could. It was a stage management course, which wasn't really what I was into, but it's all I could do. So anything remotely similar to stage, I did. And then I did do an apprenticeship in technical theatre after college, which was kind of the gateway for me because it gave me an opportunity to get paid for, even though it was like a very low wage, I was getting paid to do what I loved doing, and it got me into the local theatre, and then from there that's where it stemmed from. So in school to local theatre to there,
professional theatre.
Absolutely.
What was your first professional theatre job?
First professional theatre job, I would say my first UK theatre job was actually We Will Rock You, which was only a couple of years ago now.
Cool.
But I actually started professionally in sound, I would say, back in... It's probably about 8 years ago.
Right.
I started, and that was at where all the fun and games are at a holiday park.
Oh, right, okay.
So I actually started there. So I progressed from local theatre to holiday park.
Which particular holiday park?
It was in West Sussex, in Chichester.
All right.
At the time it was Bun Leisure. It's now called Seal Bay Resorts. And now Tag Live, I believe, own the entertainment for it. But at the time it was a family-run holiday park, and it was my first sort of job away from home at like 19, 20 years old. And it was a lot more. It wasn't a theatre as such. We had some theatre shows, but it wasn't obviously to the scale that
it was more
we do here.
Like
it was
cabaret
more,
kind of thing.
Cabaret and like a lot of bands and stuff. So I got used to mixing bands, and it was a lot of bands. And I think that's where I got my enjoyment from mixing from, was because every night you'd have a different band, and and I mean a lot of the time it would be your party bands. It would never be anything like, but again, you take what you can,
well,
and you
it's
learn
learning,
from it.
Isn't
So
it? Absolutely.
I didn't go to university. I just worked, and I learned on the job, which for some people that's a lot easier to do. Than I didn't want to write about what I was doing. I just wanted to do it, and there's opportunities to do that. So
excellent. Have you ever come across any issues in the industry? Anyone you feel holding you back, naming no names, or any struggles or anything like that?
No one in particular holding me back? I mean, I think a lot of the time you are your own worst enemy, and potentially you hold yourself back.
Yeah.
And I think, no one's going to put yourself out there more than you are. So I think, if anything I've learned from that is to, believe you can do it. As cliche as it sounds.
Yeah, you've got to bet on yourself.
Exactly,
don't you?
yeah. So I'd say, I don't know, you can be quite naive when you first get into it, and, and I guess you are. You don't know a lot when you first start out, but you trust yourself. I would trust yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. What would you say is a common misconception of somebody who's trying to get into the industry? What do they think that the industry is that it's not?
Smoke and mirrors, glitz and glam. I would say it's very much not that.
Yes.
From the outside, it is. But that's the products that you create for everyone, and I think that's why a lot of us do it, is because it looks like that, but actually you get into the industry and it is just all I don't know, dark, dingy corridors,
walls of electronics
where
in
we're
dark,
speaking right now, and
absolutely.
like a lovely sound effect you've got.
Yeah, which is they're venting gas. That's what it is.
Sums it up, I think. So and that can be, I guess, quite disappointing to some people, but at the same time, a lot of people like that is because you see that, I don't know, what you create from something that's quite, I don't know, yeah.
Everybody who's watching it thinks that there's this magic involved, and there's not this magic involved, but then you're part of creating that magic that's involved, so that's kind of nice.
It's nice to see the contrast, and I think that's why what got me into it is because I saw the magic on stage, and then you want to know, how did it get to that?
Yeah.
And I think, the common misconception is that it's always like that, and it's not. And I think if you know that it's not like that from the start, then you'll be all right, because otherwise you'll get into it thinking, oh, wait, off stage isn't like what it is on stage. That's a shame. But if you already know that, then I think you're not.
On the flip side of that, it can be a bad thing, because if you ever go and watch a show, I don't know if you're like me, if I ever go and watch a show, I'll constantly be going, oh, that fly cue didn't look like that. As you can see, that cloth's folded back or something like that.
You can never really switch off.
You'll never switch off from it.
Expect the magic to be ruined for life almost.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Totally.
What would you say are the pros and cons of working in the industry? Bearing in mind, you've done a lot of touring, so the pros and cons are different to working in London.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a touring point of view, the pros are that you get to see a lot of new places. It's a good experience to travel. Not necessarily in the UK, but other places as well. I mean, it's always good to see different places in the UK, but you can go to. I've worked on cruise ships, so you get to go to a lot more exotic places.
Yeah.
So it's quite a nice thing, being able to travel and going to new places. And a pro of touring is also that you're thrown out of your comfort zone a lot. You're in different theatres and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And you kind of learn to be on the ball, I think, and just expect the unexpected.
You've got to build your personal skills as well, because you've got to be able to talk to local crews, local, people.
Yeah, absolutely. And a con would be that I guess you're away from home a lot. So if you're very set in your home ways, it's probably not the job for you. Or it could be. You could be, I don't know, swayed, and there's only one way to find that is to do it. So I've missed out on a lot of birthdays, weddings, funerals, a lot. As you
that's
do.
This industry, though, isn't it?
That's the industry. Yeah, that's what you walk yourself into. So pros, you travel a lot. Cons is that you are away from family, but it just becomes a way of life.
Yeah,
and you always do it because you've worked so hard to get to that point, so you want to make it work.
Well, it's interesting that you were talking about being on the cruise ships as well, because a lot of people don't realise that there's a lot of sort of branches to what we do. It's not it's not just a touring show or in the West End. You've got so many different kind of ways of going.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cruise ships was a thing that I was always interested in, again from a young age, but a lot of them, because they're American based, you can only join them over the age of 21 because of their drinking laws and things like that. And so I was interested at 19, but again they wouldn't have me, so I had to wait a couple of years.
I like that you're only allowed to do it after you're able to drink.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
they assume that's what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Which when you're on a cruise ship in the middle of the sea, there's not really a lot else to do.
I suppose there isn't a lot else. Yeah, it's not like you can swim, is it?
Absolutely.
Do you have any advice for anybody who's trying to get into the industry?
Any advice? Just like I said at the start, I think with regards to being your own worst enemy, you've got to put yourself out there. That would be my advice. And also, just want to do it. You've got to want to do it.
Yes, I mean, it's a lifestyle. It's not a job.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
especially touring.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely a way of life. So you've got to want to do it, and just grab any opportunity you can to do it, and keep at it, because it will pay off.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And that's everything I've got.
Lovely.
So thank you for joining me.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you. A big thank you to Marcus there, and I think the Book of Mormon opens next week on tour, so good luck with that to all involved. Yes, thank you to Marcus, a little bit younger in the industry than me, for instance, but it's good to hear different age groups' point of view, so and he's also done a lot, so thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you so much for downloading it. It's been really great, really loving it so far, and long may it continue. Thank you to all the guests that have been on, and I shall see you all next week.